Are we successful?
Oh yeah, we're restarted.
Okay, fantastic. So, looks like the red team, for those of you who missed those wonderful 5 seconds of gameplay, maybe 10, the red team just pushed forward a little bit into the blue team's top bush, just to try to put the pressure on another turret, which is a really, really great way to compound the advantage that they have. It's about a 4,000 gold lead, but if they do manage to get this turret, that's going to be another stronghold for the blue team gone. They're going to be forced to be defensive in their nexus area, I suppose, rather than out on the map. So if the red team manages to take this down, they will have freedom over the map, which is generally a good thing.
Yeah.
Kind of dropping the ultimate there.
Yeah, I'll say I could go for some Christmas cookies. But, outside of that, you see people's itemization. Annie decided to, looks like, sell off that cages and just go with another needlessly large. And she has the ingredients to make a second Rabadon's. I don't know that I necessarily see what she's doing with that. But, you see Maokai having taken the Iceborne Gauntlet, which is such a favorite item of tanky AP junglers like Malphite and Maokai and you could even use it on like a Nunu or somebody as kind of a follow-up to an ice ball. Red team diving down onto people. It's you're seeing so much of the same come out from before. Jax dives onto people. Shard of True Ice out onto someone, making blue team's ability to run away virtually nil. Blue team tries to engage face on, but several of their members just have little damage. Katarina gets 1 reset, 2 resets, but is going to catch 2 auto attacks from Graves. Gets stopped down so low. Jax is ready. Katarina's going to Shunpo away and survive, even after all that with 80 health. Annie is actually going to pick up Sivir. She's going to burn a little bit longer.
Bringing her down.
No.
Very, very close.
She survives with 80 health. I love seeing Ignites being, either the last thing in a battle or the last thing in Engage. Katarina having that reset. Graves was not expecting it or ready for it. Katarina going to consider diving down onto Jax, but probably shouldn't. There we go. There's the reconsideration.
Scares him away instead. Real quick, I'm just going to take a look at the Baron timer and see when that happened. We unfortunately are not that fancy to have any sort of add-on. Let's see, Baron Nashor did go down at 31:44, so it is going to be up in 30 seconds. So could be seeing somebody make a move for Baron. The blue team is trying to push out a little bit. Their inhibitor did just respawn, so this could be an opportunity for them to try to retake some map control.
Yeah, but they're not focusing the one wave of creeps that is pushing, which is bottom right now. So we'll see. Katarina is going to head over that way. Katarina at 250 creeps and 8 kills, giving her a total of 13,300 gold, right on the nose as I said that. And so her build is going to be pretty good part of the way done. You see her having the Rylai's to kind of give. They're both teams are pushing kind of a if we engage on you, you don't get away from us strategy. Katarina with the Rylai's, Sivir with the Scimitar to allow her to keep diving onto people, and then the red team with a lot of their built-in abilities, the Dazzle, the Maokai Twisted Advance, and then the Shard of True Ice coming out from Taric.
So the red team is actually jumping on the Baron right now. Jax is doing a lot of damage, but regenerating it with.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, obviously, he has his Gunblade now. Gunblade and Ginsu's was all you ever needed before, and the Blade of the Rune King and the Hex Drinker on top of that is just icing.
So that was a relatively uncontested Baron for the red team. The blue team did ping it a couple times, but no wards just made them too scared to move forward.
Yep. And taking a look at Jax's, the passive with Jax with the Ginsu giving him an additional 300 damage every couple of hits, which is the additional lifesteal, and that's why he's able to tank Baron so well. And with red team already being effectively ahead in terms of objective control, even to that point where blue team won a fight or two and even the gold counter up, red team has just been exercising its objective control to great effect. Having taken 2 Barons at this point, blue team is doing a good job of keeping things going, but the arcane shift onto a creep makes Sivir fake out and pop the spell shield. Probably not intended. I would say probably not intended from either player, but a pretty funny trade to see, no less.
So that was just interesting. For a sec, I thought she used the spell shield so perfectly. The flash from Rammus.
Yeah, there's an engage popping off, but if you also noticed, as Taric goes down to Katarina and Rammus respectively, Fiora putting lots of damage down onto people, Jax is in the blue team base and taking down turrets.
Yeah, it looks like we may actually have a back door.
Oh yeah,
This could be a base race.
that's why blue team won that, because it was a 5-on-3, and now we've got Annie and Tibbers is pushing top, and blue Jax with his 2 and change. Oh, he's gonna go ahead and back instead.
Oh, no, Jax is actually going to back off. So too is
No,
Annie.
he thought about it, but now he's changed his mind. That may be the deciding factor here. We got 4 pushing onto the Nexus turrets here.
Suddenly Rammus is scaring Jax away. There's nothing he can do. Annie trying to scare away the blue team. Will she manage to do it?
Tibbers puts down people. Blue team goes real low. That's 1 Nexus turret down for. It's going to be 2 inhibitors down for blue team though. The space race won't be conclusive, but you see it looks like.
Ignite. And the Mercurial Scimitar procs the Ignite, so no Guardian Shield pop yet for Sivir. She just
Jax chasing,
away.
Jax going ham onto the Rammus down here, taking another turret hit. He should leap strike onto some creeps and fight them back up.
80 health.
No, there we go. There's the leap strike, and look how much health that comes back.
300 health. Holy cow. But here comes the blue team.
Yeah, the 10 life steal from the Blade of the Ruined King, the 10 life steal from the Hex Tech, and then the leap strike giving some additional spell vamp.
So Sivir actually blowing her ultimate there. They are going to catch him.
They're on the hunt. There goes the Fiora. The Fiora with the double dash out between the lunge onto the creep and the additional lunge onto Jax.
I just want to point out how awesome the spell effect is for that Ravenous Hydra. Sivir did proc it.
Oh, the Death Lotus going down onto Tarek and Annie immediately, trying to put somebody down. They're not putting the damage out just yet. You're taking down Graves. The Jet Set getting a Guardian Angel popped. The Fiora going to go down now. Katarina's still up. She's had time to proc a couple of rounds of spells, but Sivir blocking the Dazzle with a spell shield and walking away with such a sliver of health. Now up to 70 after some life regen. They're going to consider if they can't go down and get a Twisted Advance onto Katarina instead. Katarina's going to shunpo. The Twisted Advance not coming out just yet.
Oh,
no, Rammus is going to be able to come in instead.
There we go. Rammus scares him away. So very, very good engage from the red team, turning that retreat and offensive from the blue team back into their favor. But the super minions are actually pushing pretty far. There are 4 super minions now, and that could be pretty scary if they do make it to the Nexus turret. The red team doesn't look like they're in position.
Yeah,
to
red team is going to take a dragon instead, and Jax is going to be left. Then Jax now has home guard boots. This is going to be his express purpose every time this threatens their base, apparently.
Jax home guard is just such a funny animation to watch.
Yeah, I love to see home guard on champions that have natural speed ups like Evelynn or Rammus or Zillion or somebody who gets all 3 of those. You know, if you had a home guarded Eve or a home guarded Rammus I'd say if you had a home guarded Eve getting like a Zillion speed up and a Kale heal as well, you could see a move speed of like 1600 for a second or two.
So we are finally in the definitive late game. It doesn't really seem like either of the teams wants to do any hard engage. They both know that right now this is a razor's edge. It could as easily go to one side as to the other. What do you think either one of the teams could do? Let's start with the red team. What could they do to win this game?
The red team's strengths have been in splitting up blue team because, and to kind of answer both sides of your question at once, the blue team's strategy all along has been, stick up in your face, dodge a few attacks where we're able, shrug off the CC with things like the Mercurial Scimitar and the Zhonya's Hourglass, and then just dive straight onto people. Red team has been doing a good job thus far of breaking people up, and blue team has had a long time to dive down onto Tarek there. They've blown some abilities. Fiora going to use the ult right away and get split up from her team in so doing.
That's exactly what you were talking about. She did get split up right there and just went down way too quickly.
Yeah, and kind of like Master Yi in an Alpha Strike, knowing where you're going to end up when that ult finishes, especially when Fiora and that ult is going to be kind of difficult, and she just ended up behind all of her teammates, and nobody could really follow up onto that without risking everything.
Sivir wasn't in position. Soraka, Katarina, and Rammus just decided it would be more advantageous to let her go. And whoa, Annie flashing over the wall misses.
Yeah, and the Tibbers attempted onto Soraka. Katarina gonna have to blow the Death Lotus to try to do enough damage to drum people away. Tiver having already blown the spell shield, Jack's going to dump onto her twice, and that's the end for her. Katarina Death Lotus is into Azonia's, going to try to put any damage down that she can, but she's not going to be able to get a reset. She's going to Shunpo off to Rammus instead, and that is going to be just about the game here. Shard of True Ice on a Maokai, going to keep anyone from getting away this time. Annie gets another stun down. Katarina going to go down. Rammus the same, and Jax with extremely high attack damage and speed is going to finish this off.
That's going to be victory for the red team. So great game. Very, very good turnaround from the red team, managing to catch Fiora out of position.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch. I was worried at a few junctures that red team was kind of too far ahead, but you saw blue team pull off a couple of really nice fights and play to their strengths, and it was obvious that they were attempting to do so as much as they could, and it ended up being a really great game, all things considered.
So that was really fantastic. I don't know if you guys are doing this on the NA, but we did MVP on EU. If you had to give anyone MVP for this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We like to talk about those sorts of things as well as, our most important metric continues to be the skins the champions have. But, the MVP after the game is a nice feature as well. And in this game, you'd probably say it was either Annie or Jax coming out from the red team. Jax played his lane so well. He had that kind of natural advantage, and so he was able to run roughshod over Fiora. Fiora not having a great ability to farm and being pushed under the turret, so she had tried to respond by getting aggressive, but Jax and Maokai on a couple of occasions early. And really a lot of props to Maokai as well for setting Jax and Annie up for success quite well.
To get so many of those fantastic ganks. And we did just have a user join the channel. Is that going to be a potential interview coming up?
Oh no, that is going to be our caster for the last game, the ammo.
I see.
We could certainly try to set up an interview with somebody if we are so inclined.
Sure, that's perfectly fine. Honestly, with you, I would have to agree that I would give the MVP to Jax. He just built so well. It looks like he didn't end up getting that Triforce, instead relying on the Hextech Gunblade, but he just really, really managed to turn the game in his favor.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what rooms our players were using in these last games, and I think some of them have probably already split up by now.
I'm here.
Well, the ammo, you're just as good as any for an interview?
Yeah.
So what did you think about the last game? I mean, you guys obviously won in the late game, but it started to get a little bit iffy right around the mid-game.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because we got control real quickly in the top lane, in the mid lane, in the bottom lane with a couple of quick kills. But their mid game was so strong with the Cat and the the Fiora and the Sivir that they really just pushed back really hard.
You guys managed to catch a lot of people out of position with some really, really fantastic word placement, and you moved very well as a unit. How do you guys feel like you communicated?
Well, we knew our strength point was our individual stuns. As Tarek, I have a stun. Jax has a jump in, and he has a little bit of an area effect stun, the Maokai stun, the possible Annie Tiber stun. So we knew if we just cut out an individual or multiple people, then we could get them off real quickly. What happened when we lost the team fights is we didn't exactly lock down one person. Like the one where we lost team fight, we all CC'd Rammus because he was powerballing in. We burned all of our CC on Rammus, and then the rest.
Not
of the team
always the best idea.
No.
So, that was really, really fantastic how you guys just picked off your targets. T-Tree, do you have any questions?
Do what now?
Do you have any questions?
Right. Video games. Sorry. I was just talking with some of our administrators here and a few people who are offering art assets and kind of stuff to help us improve all of our operations here, which is really nice of them. As far as beyond that, the kind of questions I would have would be for you specifically about your ideas in building, and if you thought, did you and Annie talk at all about what her, if anything, and ultimately nothing, her Cage's lucky pick was going to end up being? Because I see you having picked up the Shard of True Ice there, so you obviously went to the Cages.
Yes, no, especially, I picked up the Shard of True Ice for a very important reason. We have Maokai and Jax who jump in. when they jump in, I drop the Shard of True House on them, do an area of effect slow. I didn't realize Annie had bought a Lucky Cages pick, so I can't answer that reason particularly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, she'd had one in the early game and ended up selling it off. But,
maybe she just needed a little bit more GP5, but
Extra
I can't
gold.
give you. Yep. I went Randuin's because Maokai went Aegis.
That was
Other
actually a
than
pretty
that-
intelligent decision. As a support, I've been trying to specialize as a support recently. Whenever someone else, like the jungle or the top lane, builds Aegis, I always find myself scratching my head, being like, okay, so what now?
Well-
So that was actually worked out pretty well against Sivir and
That-
Fiora.
Yeah, that item worked especially well because of when I got caught out trying to drop a ward at blue buff because Baron was going to respawn within the next minute. They all jumped on me, and I was able to pat my Shard of True Ice on myself and pop the Randuin's Omen, so they all were moving extremely slow and weren't auto-attacking. I was then able to get close enough to my allies, Annie, Maokai, and Jax, to pop Shrelia so they could come into the fight with a faster speed, and because of that, I think that's why Fiora got pulled off. And
Yeah, so that's what ended up happening at the end right there.
Yes, and when Andy flashed over the wall, he was trying to flash Tibbers' cat and not Soraka. He missed entirely.
Yeah, so that was pretty fantastic play.
Our entire team was like, "What just happened?"
yeah, there were a few occasions where those Tibbers came out like a moment or two later than one would have expected.
Did Annie have lag or something?
No. Maybe just slightly off, but sometimes waiting for a cooldown or sometimes waiting for, so the Tibbers actually gets the stun on Annie instead of just like her shield or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just about it for me.
Okay, I got a few more questions. I mean, really, I'm just continuing to try to. I played less in Season 3 than I did around the end of Season 2, so I'm still trying to remember things like, what builds into what, because, I see that Rammus had built the tanky version of the Spirit Stone, but I don't see anything builds off of a Spirit Stone from Maokai. I guess he sold his back off.
What is the... Yeah, I don't think Maokai sold hers. I think it was because she didn't need it to farm the jungle creeps because she can just clear the wave. Maokai just couldn't clear with that, sapling Q, and the wave's basically gone. So we didn't need that, and we needed that armor and magic resist. So I think she sold it in order to get that Frozen Fist or whatever it's called. They changed the name of it to something. So
Iceborne Gauntlet, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
But that ended up working out really well because whenever he would auto attack, he would just lock people down. And
yeah, exactly. That's an excellent item for somebody with a strong engage, like like a Malphite. They can either ult in or use the Rolling Stone to gain entree and then hit with the auto attack to get that slow. Or especially in Maokai's case, you just Q onto somebody.
So yeah.
Yep.
All right, well,
Any
that
more
was
questions?
that was an exciting game, and I thank you for being part of it and for jumping up into the caster's booth for the next game here, which we're going to go ahead and get set up shortly.
No problem.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for casting this game at T-Tree. It has been a pleasure. This has been really fun. I'm going to go ahead and head out for now and
Absolutely.
hand it over to you, the MO.
Okay, I'll still
Thank
be
you.
around. I just won't be talking on the stream anymore.
Yeah, okay, so toodles for now, and shameless self-promotion. Check out my channel Mondays through Thursdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., twitch.tv/Satalgeese, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys next Friday for more IRC5s. Thanks.
Cool. See you then.
Okay. Well, do we know who's... Hopefully... Hmm. Yep.
And now I'm talking to the stream as well as to you.
No,
So yeah,
that's fine.
your co-caster is here in the room, so we're gonna get that set up, and then I do want to check and see if the game is being set up. Or I know we're still having some discussion about policy here, because and this is RJB man coming in from out of his vacation to make a couple of specific points. Also, your keyboard and a few other things are quite loud right now. The ammo.
My apologies.
That's all right. But yeah, the bottom line here is that we needed to make a clarification that while trading is allowed outside of the positions that you are assigned to in the schedule, it is greatly, greatly preferred if you are put into a position that you didn't intend to or can't play well, that you switch out before the game starts. And if you are going to switch, either at that point or during the game, that you try to let everyone know. The intent is for these games that elos are matched both across the game and across the lane. So if you have a 1400 on one side of a lane matching up across against an 1800 or a 1900, the odds of seeing a really well matched skill based matchup in that lane just aren't very high, not nearly as high as they should be.
No, yeah, I think there's a little bit of confusion. Well, part of the reason is we might have been confused is because I know in the past when like a whole team is full of substitutes. I know. Well, I think the very first week I played, I was in mid, and I'm a silver player, right on the edge of gold, or on that like 1400, the 1500 ELO currently, and I went up against like a platinum level player in mid.
Yeah,
He was a sub, and I'm not platinum, so I lost my lane.
Right.
We did win the game though, so
nice.
I guess I pulled it around.
That you just got carried hard enough.
Oh yeah, I didn't lose. I only died once, so it's not like I didn't feed my lane.
Sure. Yeah, I've definitely had matchups against people who are elo rated higher than myself. Although I don't play very much ranked, so I can't say exactly what my elo actually is. I only got up to 1400 last season, but I only played a handful of games. So, all right, we are getting games set up, and we should be good to start getting people invited in just a moment here.
Okay. I believe we are pretty close to having a full room already. Let's see here. I'm already in spectating, and we have almost a full lineup. Someone may need to make.
Yeah, if anybody wants to invite me into the room so I can, camera, that would probably be good.
Yeah. And I think I see a couple of subs. Let's see here. Team 2, Tookie, Lily, Dash, Duck, and DragCon are all Team 2 showed up. So that's good. As we can see, Team 1, we have Low in the buff, Rayquaz, and what is it? We got Kosi Does. I don't know. We'll get the name right correctly eventually. And one of the subs, DT Wayne.
Looks like Cosidius.
Cosidus.
There's two eyes there. Cosidius. I just wouldn't say it too much if you don't have to. Just say whoever they're playing as.
Yep, that's how it's gonna go. And this is the final game of the night. So thanks for everyone for sticking around. I know it's getting a little bit later than expected, but we're much better. I believe I played in the last game last week, and we didn't even start until like almost basically 11 o'clock.
All right, well, Jangly, if you are here and about, you are more than free to introduce yourself, and I will go ahead and step out of the way.
Well, I don't have too much to say.
Well,
My
that's
name's Jangly.
unfortunate because you're going to be commentating this whole next game.
Oh, I have plenty to say about the game, just not
good.
about myself. I'm not quite as interesting, but...
I don't know. I mean, do you have any investments from Tencent? Do you have any seed capital?
Yeah, they just recently actually did a hostile takeover and purchased all my stock, but...
Are you planning on releasing more champions on a regular schedule?
I was thinking we were going to pump out maybe 2 a week just to get as much money as possible.
And how do champions affect the Jangly ecosystem? Do you consider yourself a balanced game, and will you ever get there if not?
Well, we try to keep balance as best we can. The champion named after me is obviously overpowered, and we plan on keeping him that way.
Okay. Alright, sounds like good stuff. And now we are going to go ahead, and I think we're just about done getting people filed in for our teams here. So we're getting people into their chat rooms, and then I will just set myself to only you guys can hear me mode, and then I will mercilessly make fun of you while you attempt to cast this game.
That will not be necessary. We will do a quite excellent job. Okay. Well, Jangly, I believe this is the second game we've casted together.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yes. And here we go, straight into the picks and bans. Okay. You may be watching off the stream here, as we can see here. Jarvan is going to be the first ban. Not quite sure who's that targeted at. We've seen Jarvan now run top, mid, jungle. Can do a variety of things. As we say, Katarina banned out. She was played in the last 2 games, both on the losing team. So,
Well, maybe they're just trying to keep their team from losing. My stream looks like it's a few seconds behind. I'm going to refresh it and see if I can catch up a little bit. I just barely saw the Jarvan ban, so...
no problem. As we can see here, we got a few seconds left on this next ban. There's a Cho'Gath, so a lot of different bans coming out. I wonder if they're targeting the jungler for the purple team, maybe banning out his favorite jungle champions, trying to reduce him into a specific role. And an Ezreal ban coming out, so the carries are being banned by the purple team here, while the blue team not liking that initiation or tanky champions.
I'm still flying blind here as soon as this ad finishes.
No problem. And Blitzcrank, so another, strong, support champion, but also does have a good initiation with the pull and the knock up and the silence. Area effect silence is pretty strong, and so we can see a Shen ban coming out for the purple team. So, and there's the instant lock Amumu coming out for the blue team. So basically wanted to counter any of those other initiators with the Jarvan, Cho'Gath, and Blitzcrank, but they might have left open the Malphite Orianna Wombo combo from the 2 ultimates there. So that's just a strong initiation for the purple team to counteract the Amumu pickup.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see them not ban out Malphite. He's the stereotypical counter initiator. He can turn fights around with his R.
Yes, he can. So I think the purple team, they're going to be doing some switching around. I believe Lily is going to be playing the support role, which we see her most of the time in, as she will lock in the Oriana. And out from the side of blue team, we have a Nunu set up with a possible top lane Teemo with teleport. So that Teemo, you can teleport to those shrooms, and if you get enough of them laid out around the jungle, you can just show up anywhere you want. And with all of that, it's pretty interesting knowing that. Well, you don't know if Teemo can counter Malphite up top, but if that Malphite turns into a jungler, Teemo might have set himself up to be counterpicked here.
I sort of expect to see Malphite top. The lane will be difficult against the Teemo, but it's not going to be undoable. I expect him to pick a jungle that's got a little more aggressive ganks, something probably with a hard CC.
Yep, and as we see, it may be a Talon and Olaf are being hovered with 5 seconds left, so we'll switch over to a Wukong, and those are locked in. So, do we have a Malphite jungle, Oriana support?
That's going to be interesting. The Bruiser mid has gotten a lot of attention lately. The Talon mid is probably a good pick, but again, he does stand to get counterpicked. We don't have a mid from blue team yet.
No, yes. That's true, but there's the Lux being locked in, so she can stay a pretty far distance away from Talon and farm up quite easily with her E there. And Darius is being Draven. I always mix the brothers up, It's my wall on the laptop. My wall splash art is the brothers, and I mess it up every time. As Mitch Fortune gets locked in instantly for the purple team. So on the side of the blue team, we have a Teemo top, a Mumu jungle, Lux mid with a Nunu and Draven bot. For the purple team, we have we're gonna go with Wukong top, Malphite jungle, Talon mid, and an Oriana Misfortune bot lane. That's just a ton of attack damage coming out from the purple team. That hard AD team.
Yeah, and the bot lane's going to be really interesting with the support Oriana. MF has really good harass, and with the utility that Oriana's going to provide, I can see them having a hard time with, because they don't have any hard peel if Nunu's going to be on support. That Draven's going to have to watch his step.
Yep, and there's going to be the blood boil on him to help him run, but I don't think it's going to particularly matter as we start the 3-minute delay into the game, because Oriana, I think, does sort of the opposite of Nunu. Nunu can slow and speed his champion up, whereas Oriana is going to be able to put that ball on Misfortune, and she's going to get armor and magic resist. So magic resist is going to prevent those snowballs from dealing damage as much. But then also can speed up Misfortune when she, pops her W, or can slow down a champion if she chooses to move the ball, across in front to slow someone. And plus, she can place it in a bush as like a mini ward.
Yeah, and I really like the Misfortune counter pick. She's got really high base movement speed with her passive, and that's going to do a lot to negate the potential harass given by Nunu's W on Draven.
No, yep, and I think that's a purple team's got a really nice setup for that bottom lane in their favor. I'm not so sure about this Talon versus Lux in the mid though. If Talon gets an early lead, which is basically the way Talon has to go, then Talon's going to be able to just jump on Lux, and kill Lux all the time. But if Talon gets starting to fall way behind in farm and not getting any kills, Talon's going to become to a point where she can't do anything in the later parts of the game except for just ult and hide.
Yeah, that lane's going to be really volatile, and I kind of expect it to see to essentially come down to a battle of the junglers, because either one of those mids getting ahead is going to just completely dominate the other one and just keep dominating in that lane. Lux, with her huge range, if she gets ahead in an early start on Talon, all she has to do is wait for him to pop his cooldown, and then she can just shove him to the tower every time.
Nope, yep. And then when we set up here for the top lane, we do have a teleport on Teemo. So like I said, he'll be going where his shrooms are, or coming down to the bottom lane, maybe jumping in to help there if he wants to gank down there. Versus Wukong. Now, I don't play a lot of Wukong. I play 0 Wukong, and I usually don't play against a lot of Wukong. So I'm not sure how this matchup goes.
I think it'll probably go fairly well, but at the same time, any melee versus a top Teemo is going to be just a little bit of a nightmare, because he's going to have that huge harass. But Wukong with the stealth is going to have just a little bit of an advantage. He's going to be able to at least make a trade on Teemo.
Yep, and I think once again we stated it already. It's going to be the junglers who are going to make the final decision on how the laning phase is going to go. If a Moo can get a good bandage toss in, and pull someone, just keep them down long enough for a Teemo to lay some poison down, or Lux to land a snare, then that person's probably going to go down. But if Malphite can come in and get a slow off, this is pre-6. Because once you hit 6 and either one of these jungles lands their ult on you, you're pretty much dead in lane. Especially if your lane opponent is equal on footing as you.
Yeah, I'm going to give the early ganking advantage to the Amumu, though. Without the hard CC on Malphite, again, that is going to be a hard sell on especially someone like Lux, who can throw the shield up for the shard and just walk away, light bind anybody who gets in, who feels like trying to kill her.
Yep, but I think what's really in the team fights though, what's really going to make a difference, I think, is the fact that Amumu is going to initiate for the blue team, and if they don't kill off Orianna and Misfortune, or Orianna and Malphite, or Malphite and Misfortune, they're going to be in a ton of trouble, because AoE ult, AoE ult, AoE ult, AoE ult, AoE ult, that's the purple team coming right back at you.
But yeah, these team fights are going to come all down to positioning and initiation timing on Amumu. If he times it just slightly off, Malphite is going to ult their carries, Orianna is going to ult their carries, and they're going to have a 10-second team fight where their carries aren't really doing much.
Yep, and while that's happening, we have Talon jumping in, popping his ult, so his blades are going everywhere. Wukong will be spinning around, knocking everyone up yet again, and Misfortune will just be laying the bullets down in that little cone. But if the blue team gets in a straight line, we have the possibility of the Lux Draven spinning swords laser of death line. I actually really want to see that. Where, like, if they're running through a bush and Lux and Draven just hit everyone.
Right, looks like we're just starting off. We see only one Boots 3 pots. You can thank the Season 3 changes for that.
Crystalline Flask is the most popular item.
Yeah, we see a lot
world.
of Crystalline Flask, 5-pot, and a ward. I see that quite often starting. It looks like we've got 2 and a variation on that already.
Yeah, especially for those top laners. Especially if you use mana, you're just going to be able to stay longer in lane than where if you just had bought normal Boots 3 pots. It's much easier in lanes otherwise as well, top and bottom and mid. But the key is you can then buy wards. Now, remember, one of the favorite things from Season 2 was red buff gank top from the purple team, or blue buff gank top from the blue team, or red buff, smiteless red buff to blue buff with smite, level 3 gank top for the blue team, because it was instantly almost whoever won top usually won the game. Now, we will see a lot more spread out with wards. The junglers have to farm it up.
And I think that's one of the reasons that Boots 3 pots is no longer really necessary. There's not that early jungle pressure where you're going to need the extra move speed to get back to your tower before you die.
No, and also because you can buy wards, that counteracts the move speed necessary. We do see the junglers get the machete, though.
Yeah, that's a pretty good item. I rarely see junglers not take that. It just really helps a lot early on. And Riot did a good job at building it into items that actually stay relatively relevant for the whole game.
Yes. I would like to see it build into maybe one more attack damage item other than the Wriggles. I mean, I really liked Wriggles as it is. I like how the Vamp Scepter changed it up, and that was a really good decision on their part, so I think that really worked out well. But I want to, instead of, because I mean, the Spirit Stone, you get 3 different types of things to build it into.
Yeah, and to begin off, looks like they're just going to opt for the safe blue. Both sides going to pick up the blue, move on with their jungle.
And Wukong just absolutely pulling Teemo already. Wukong, knowing that Teemo does not have Ignite, is not scared to jump in there and deal damage. They both have the Crystalline Flask, but what the key is, Teemo start off with more wards, not as many pots. He's already had to use all of his pots, and Wukong went back to base and bought a pot and came to lane with an extra one.
Yeah, and Wukong's going to have to keep aggressive. You can't play passive against the Teemo as a melee champion. It's not going to work out, and you're going to get killed.
And we see Lily playing a really aggressive support there with Orianna. She did start with her Q level 1, just like AP mid Orianna would, and she's just moving that ball back and forth across the lane, dealing a little bit of damage to creeps, but mainly focusing on hitting that Draven, because he does have no heal in his lane.
Yeah, he picked up a little bit of sustain with the pots, but he opted for the boots, I think primarily to try and dodge these skill shots, and to kind of get that little extra boost against Misfortune. It seems to be working against him because Orianna's doing a good job of keeping that ball slow on him.
Yep, and I think the problem is the fact that he's only level 2. He doesn't have extremely fast enough move speed yet, but also, if he wants to deal maximum damage, he needs to catch those axes. And Misfortune's just playing right into that hand. We know Draven has to move where that axe is going to land, and you can see it. Orianna places her ball right there.
And it looks like First Blood's going to go down top. Teemo, he doesn't have the Ignite. The poison won't quite be enough. But we see Wukong just getting pushed into his tower.
Yeah, but bottom lane's getting pushed in. Malphite's going to try and do some counter jungling, but Amumu is here, bandage toss into an empty bush. But they're going to see Malphite leave this top lane as Teemo is backing. Good time to back and buy as there's a ward. Sees the talent, and Amumu maybe going to get caught out here.
They're going to try and catch out Talent. I'm kind of surprised to see him not run toward his jungler in top lane, but he will get away.
Yeah, he did have to burn Flash, though. So Ignite is down, actually, for Wukong. I think we missed that one up top. And so Flash is down for Teemo. So couple Flashes down, 1 Ignite down, as we see Teemo with the first buy of the game is going to come back to lane with a Cloth Armor and a Rejuvenation Bead. So he's just going to protect himself a little bit and regenerate even more health.
No, that's a really smart buy. That's going to shut down a lot of Wukong's damage. He's going to be able to harass harder and not get hurt by the creeps quite so much. He's going to be able to just sit back and win his lane against this Wukong.
Yep, and I think this Draven lane is looking really bad for the blue team. Draven's already used all of his pots. He's down to less than a quarter of his health left. If he gets queued by Misfortune one more time, it may be the end of him.
Yeah, that was a really good counter pick on the part of Red Team. Draven's going to have quite a hard time without any jungle support because all he has is Nunu's buff, which is going to make him, Draven's quite a beast. He does a lot of damage, but with nothing but a Nunu slope, he doesn't have anywhere near the utility.
Nope, and we're at this point in mid lane where we're almost to that 7-minute mark, but as a result, Lux has almost basically has run out of mana. So because of that, Talon's going to have to bully her while Lux has no mana.
Yeah, and he does have one ward up protecting from the gank from the north. That's a pretty solid plan. He should just be pushing this into the tower and taking advantage of it.
No, yeah, but we see Nunu trying to push off the bottom lane here. Draven has gone back and has picked up that Vamp Scepter, so we'll be able to lifesteal a little bit of his health left that he loses in lane. And it looks like first one to hit level 6 is Talon.
Yeah, and we see top Wukong already seceding his lane. Realizing he's not going to do anything unless he's under the tower, he might as well just stay there and wait for Teemo to push the lane.
Yep, and he's only 5 CS behind, so it's not like he's losing terribly, but Teemo is just going to have to start. Teemo is 6 now as well, so he's just needed to put some. He's got Ward and Tribush, and as soon as he puts Shrooms
the
out,
flash go down on Mumu, he does get the first blood.
Wow. I was waiting for Malphite to see if he was going to come gank top against Teemo, and you're right, Mumu picks up first blood in mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like earlier they actually went all in on each other. Both got about to 100 HP, and Amumu was just able to come lane side and managed to land that bandage.
So just really good positioning by the Mumu, knowing what was going on in all of his lanes at the same time. Teemo has gone back to buy yet again. What is he? And he just picked up a No Magic Mantle. So Teemo is being like pushing his lane, and then it's like, okay, I got a little bit of gold. I'm going to go buy something. As blue buffs have now both come up for both teams. Lux desperately is going to need a blue buff if she wants the lane really well against this Talon.
And it looks like Talon's headed over to pick up his own blue buff. And the pink goes down on blue for blue team. Lux looks like she's trying to clear the lane out. I intend to see her go and pick up blue, but it's getting really low. I don't know if she's picked up on it.
No. As we can see, this bottom lane, Malphite and Talon have both come to this bottom lane. Malphite is only level 5, though, but Talon is 7, and his ult is back up, as we actually see Orianna trying to bait Nunu and Draven out. But
Yeah. It looks like the dive isn't going to work. They are going to be. Lux pushing the mid tower with Talon gone, but there aren't any wards, so she may be taken by surprise if she's not
Malphite
careful.
might hit level 6, does hit level 6 with those golems. It's coming in from behind.
It looks like we're not going to see a gank. Bot lane is going back, so Malphite's just going to have to sit on his ult for a little bit.
No, yeah, Misfortune is 75 to 52 CS, so up by 25 CS basically, and did not bought anything, as looks like she's going to go straight for a black cleaver. She buys the Brutalizer and the Ruby Crystal, and plus some boots. Lots of wards. We have a little blue snowman in mid lane with a couple of purple Teemos dancing in the bushes.
Man, speaking of Teemo, I'm a little surprised to see him down on creep kills from Wukong. Looks like Wukong is doing pretty well. He's spent most of his time trying to get these last hits underneath of his tower. I don't really know why Teemo hasn't hit more of these last hits when he has complete control of this lane.
Because Teemo keeps going back to buy items. Teemo has been back to base 4 times already and has only come up back with a rejuvenation bead, cloth armor, boots, and no magic mantle. He hasn't actually bought anything of significant items yet. We have a whole group of blue sitting in the pink purple world in this river bush.
And I'm not really sure what they're planning to do with this, if they're going to try and contest Dragon, or because they're not pushing the lanes.
Blue team did push that lane out. Teemo's maybe coming down from bot. He doesn't have any mana. Interesting, but Teemo does have teleport if necessary. As Lux Binding does hit. Oh my gosh. All Malphite initiation. There's Make It Rain. Bandit Toss misses.
And it looks like they're all just going to back. A little bit safe play. Malphite was able to save Orianna with the ultimate. Talon wasn't there, so they were a little outmanned, but they were able to get away with their lives.
Nope, and Talon may jump on a Mumu here when he walks by. Yep. He's just going to jump on him. Mumu is double buff, but I think Talon Mays is going to have enough to finish him off. Yep. Oh, how much health? 35 health. 35 health. Talon's going to have...
It looks like Mumu is going to get away. That was an absolutely fantastic juke. However, Mumu's ult is down now.
Yes, but it's worth it to save giving Talon double buff. But as a result, purple team's going to be set up for Dragon.
It's true, and Malphite's ult is going to be up much earlier than Mumu's at this point, and that's going to give them a huge advantage.
Yep. And if you notice something, Misfortune we haven't talked about did pick up Barrier as her second summoner skill, so did not go for that Ignite or Cleanse. So interesting choice. You would have probably expected Cleanse with a Lux and a Mumu.
Yeah, I think she did it to just try and kind of secure domination of her lane. Any damage Draven is going to be output is going to be completely nullified by that barrier and by Orianna's shield.
Yep, and because Amumu had to go back to base after Talon jumping on him, a free Dragon for the purple team.
And Orianna actually throwing down her ultimate, missing everybody on bottom lane.
As we can see, Amumu may be trying to set up for a gank, but this river bush is warded by both teams, so they will see it coming. As we see Teemo Shrooms line the river bushes and the lane bushes up in top lane.
Yeah, it looks like Wukong going full in, popping his ultimate, trying to get Teemo. He is going to have to back, but he's doing a really good job. He's up 10 creep kills. On the Ignite going down, Teemo's surely going to drop from that.
Yep. Oh, he walked into one shroom. Is that going to be enough, though? Nope. Looks like he's actually just going to use some of the Crystalline Flash and get him, and his bottom lane gets ganked by the Amumu from lane, but does not fall to anything Misfortune able to escape. And if Draven has his ult up, he might have been able to kill Misfortune. No, too much health.
And if we see mid lane, Talon's got a pretty good lead on on Lux right now. He's about 30 creep kills higher. He does have the death, which Lux isn't sitting on, but 30 creep kills is a huge amount.
Nope, and Lux only got an assist for that. And there's the Malphite ult. Misses everything but some minions, as he does get binded under tower and Eid, so he got taken from full to less than half in that combo.
And that's really fortunate for Blue Team, because they ended up wasting their not so much wasting their Amumu ultimate, but not getting it in an optimal team fight or gank, and they were able to essentially take Malphite's ultimate away with the same kind of price.
Yep. As we can see, good setup and great ward vision by Little Snowman and Teemo Gingerbread Men in this bot lane. So, but if you look, Misfortune is the first champion to 100 CS. Draven has closed that gap from that earlier almost 30 CS down to just about 15 down.
And we see Lux picking up her first blue of the game. This is going to allow her to just do a lot of work against the Talon. But he does have the blue buff himself. So it may just end up being kind of a similar stalemate as we've had.
And no fully completed items yet, but Wukong did go for the Hex Drinker and the Brutalizer, so trying to stay alive a little bit longer, and I think that's what allowed him to jump on Teemo earlier. As we can see, Teemo may be building AP because has the Cage's lucky pick, and is building into an Aegis.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange build on Teemo. I wasn't really sure what he was going. It looked like he was building Aegis, and now that he's locked in the belt, it's definitely looking like it's going in Aegis, and that's kind of strange on Teemo.
Yes, I'm not exactly sure if I want my Teemo building Aegis, especially if we're going to have Teemo split push, which may be the option that Blue Team's going to have to take, because every single one of their lanes is losing farm, including the jungle. And you know, Amumu is really good at clearing jungle waves really fast.
And there we see the utility. Blue Team just going all in on Misfortune, not able to get the kill, just not enough damage to burst through that barrier and that shield from Orianna.
Yep, but she was able to ult. Oh, there's the Orianna ult, but not dealing really a lot of damage because she is support Orianna. But that lockdown is able to push them back enough where Draven's just going to have to use his Vamp Scepter to lifesteal. And Teemo leads Wukong through some shrooms in top lane as we have Talon trying to get maybe a little roam ganking on.
Yeah, we'll see. Both teams actually have really good vision right now. I don't really see anybody getting caught by surprise. Looks like Talon is going to step into that ward and give himself away.
No, yep, and I think that's what's really going to be the key is this river is, you know, in Season 1 and 2, the river is usually dark, except for in front of Baron and Dragon. Maybe one warded bot lane. We see more of the river than we do the fog of war, as Wukong ults on the Teemo too far away from tower, so no tower shots. Has red buff actually because Malphite transferred over to him, and that's a dead Teemo in the top lane. So that start of an Aegis build not working out for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go a little more aggressive on the offense. In building that defensive build, he has essentially nullified a lot of his harass, especially with the hard counter building that Wukong is doing. And it's just not allowing him to keep control of his lane anymore. Wukong isn't taking enough damage, and Teemo isn't mitigating enough of that damage.
Yeah,
and he's now losing the lane.
It's that Hex Drinker now that has proc twice when Wukong has dove in on Teemo to kill him. So it's that Hex Drinker item that's kept him alive long enough for his ult to deal all that damage, and his Brutalizer to just bash through whatever armor Teemo has. His Teemo has now gone for a Blasting Wand, so we will see an AP Teemo up top. Usually you see the top lane Teemo usually go a little bit more like a Bruiser Teemo, or where you just get items where you do on-hit effects, or the Bruiser where you can get like a Frozen Mallet, and you just slow them for as long as they can move.
Yeah, and the AP was definitely a good pick on Teemo. I think he realized he was just getting outplayed, and he did pretty much nothing to this Wukong, especially with the huge amount of farm Wukong's ahead, almost 40 creep kills. He's just got a lot more items than Teemo right now.
Yep, and Teemo just going to sit there. He's stuck. He can't do anything. Malphite set up for a oh, he just walked right in. Oh my gosh. There's the Orianna ball. Misfortune ult. Malphite ult has already been used. Nunu walked straight into the bush. If they would have just CC'd Nunu in this bottom bush, they would have killed Nunu and taken bottom tower. Easy peasy.
It was well played by Draven, though. He kept himself positioned well, away from the bush, away from where he was going to get caught out by things, and he was able to flash away and save his life.
Yep, Amumu's going to go top here, maybe trying to get a gank on Wukong, but that's not going to happen, as they've just now pushed blue team far enough in so they can get, hopefully, an easy dragon. They've seen Amumu top, so they know the jungler's not there, as Talon's going to kill Lux in mid just by jumping on her. Oop, never mind, Snare comes out perfect time.
The shield is going to let her keep her life, but that was a good call by Talon because blue essentially can't challenge this dragon now. Draven's going to try and get something over the wall.
They do have vision of it, but not in time as Misfortune able to take that. I think Smite was used by Malphite, so maybe just mistimed it by a few seconds.
And Teemo, meanwhile top, he's just getting driven further and further behind. Wukong brings him down to just a sliver of health, and he's going to be able to push this lane really hard right now.
Yep, so Wukong's going to take it really strong, aggressively. As we see an Orianna ball hit Amumu in this bottom lane. Wukong's now going to farm between towers.
Yeah, he's really deep, but he knows he's safe. They don't really have any vision right now, but he can essentially see almost that blue's entire team. He knows Lux went back, he knows Teemo went back, and the rest of them are bottom.
Yes, let's see here. Turn chat on. Pause. Purple team wants to know why there was a pause, so and it looks like Lux. Something's up with Lux, so we won't be having game action here for the foreseeable few seconds. But as we can sit here and look and speculate ahead, for basically 3,000 gold up for the purple team. And it's pretty well spread out too. Wukong actually probably leading his team, and he is over the 6,000 mark, but your mid and AD carries are each over 5,000 as well, whereas only Draven is over 5,000 for the blue team, and he's just over it. So not looking good for the gold on the blue team.
Yeah, it's spread so evenly because it's mainly due to farm. Every lane that red team has is essentially out-farming the other one. Yep, they're not losing their lanes hard, but getting out-farmed. And that's where we see this gold difference. It's actually a fairly low-kill game for 19 minutes in. I expected to see a few more kills.
No, and I think we would have seen a couple more kills if Orianna and Malphite can get their combos off just a little bit better. As I think the purple team says, okay, we can push this lane down and maybe take a tower. Wukong has actually done an excellent job of pushing this top lane into tower. So I think that is really going to help purple team if they can take a tower. As soon as they take one tower, I suspect the next two will fall pretty shortly.
Yeah, and both teams doing really well on map control right now. That's, I think, primarily the reason we're not seeing really high kill count. The jungles have been trying to gank, but each team has been completely aware of the gank every time, and so you see missed ultimates, you see people getting caught out in the jungle, you see counter ganks coming in before the gank even happens. There's just excellent map control.
Nope, and Lux is getting jumped on once again by Talon. Talon burns everything to take Lux all the way down to less than a third of her health, almost a quarter. She's going to have to probably back. If Talon jumps on her, she's dead. There's the flash and the jump silence. She does get snared under tower, so some free tower shots on Talon. But Talon, with that Vam Scepter and Brutalizer, will be able to survive. As just escapes. That's a free. That means Mumu is going to have to just get blue buff for himself.
Yeah, that's going to put Lux really far behind. She's already down 30 creep kills, and to be put out essentially another 2 creep waves, that's going to put Talon really far ahead. He's going to be able to essentially just badger his lane and do whatever he wants, and he'll be free to roam.
Yep, it's the mid game coming out from the purple team, which I said was going to be quite scary. You with the Misfortune mid game and the Talon mid game and the Wukong and Malphite. Just right when they hit that level, 7 to 11 range is where some of these champions become extremely strong, and we're seeing that right now. And the blue team's set up the purple team, sorry, is set up perfectly to start pushing these objectives as a team now. At the 22 minute mark, here we are, and they'll be able to take it some good teamwork.
Well, yeah, Malphite coming up for a gank. He misses the ult onto Teemo, but will land on Amumu. He's getting away. He pops his ultimate. He may actually be able to get away from this.
And ult coming out from Amumu.
Oh, Talon was able to wander up, and looks like they're going to get both kills.
Yep. Teemo Shrooms aren't going to save you.
And this is really too bad because we see the banner of command coming out on Teemo. It looks like he did plan on running a split push team comp and just really pushing down these lanes with that promote. But it's not going to happen because he just doesn't have control of his lane anymore.
No, yep. So he did not go for that Aegis build, which we were kind of expecting. It's the Banner of Command, one of the new items. If you're not aware of it, it uniquely gives an aura of 10 health regen per 5 seconds to allied minions and 15% increased damage. But when you activate it, it transforms all nearby allied siege minions into more powerful minions, and you gain all the gold that this unit earns. So if they kill a creep in the lane or something, you earn that gold as well. So it's a great item if you're going to be a split push champion, because your minions will just do all the work for you.
It is, and I think that's what they intended to do, was try and fake out some team fights, keep pressure on bot and mid, and just let Teemo push all the way into the inhibitor. And Wukong has done a really excellent job of keeping that from happening.
Yep, but it took Teemo 22 minutes to get this item, and Teemo did rush it. So we'll see if it makes any difference late game, because Teemo does have that teleport. If we can get to a late game situation where the blue team can just stall all of the other lanes, except for where Teemo is, and Teemo just push one lane, push another lane, push top, push bottom, push mid, and is all over the place with teleport and the move speed and that Banner of Command, we'll be able to just push with the minion waves and maybe keep purple team on their heels just long enough to maybe win a team fight.
Yeah, it looks like Amumu getting a bandage onto Talon, Malphite may be able to get away.
Nope, double ults. As we can see, there was the Amumu ult on under top of the Talon ult. So Talon ults went out, but just because you're invisible doesn't mean you can run if you're stunned.
And Wukong coming down to try and defend bot, but it looks like
Teemo teleported down
headed
there.
bottom.
Yep. Teemo teleported bottom, said, okay, I'll just let the minions take care of top as my whole team is down here. We're going to try and steal the blue buff, maybe push on to take a tower. Oh. There we go, thank you. As we can see, sorry about that. After the pause, we both apparently forgot to switch back to the live version. As we see now, after that team fight, the purple team picked up another couple of kills as they're running away. Misfortune with Wukong jumping onto Amumu, who bandage tossed into the race, but is going to be jumped onto by Wukong there. Teemo is now going to try and fight Misfortune with the help of Nunu, but here comes Talon and Malphite. And
it looks like Teemo is going to go down. Nunu needs to run. He may be able to get away, but this is going to be a dragon for red team. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take one mid turret off of it as well.
And Teemo does get away with the Blood Boil and his own personal move speed, but Misfortune goes tower deep, using all of her health almost and mana to secure that kill as Talon throws out his blades just to see if Teemo was sitting in a bush somewhere, invisible.
Yep, and the peak ward goes out for red team. They are going to get rid of blue team's vision and take that dragon, so there's no real hope for a global steal on blue's part.
Oh, Lux Laser does deal a bunch of damage to a couple of the purple team champions, but not enough to take down anyone.
Yeah, and red team's going to have to back. I expect to see a counter push here on blue's side.
Yeah, Teemo's actually picked up yet another kind of supporty item, the Twin Shadows. Does give ability power and movement speed, so that will help with the split push, but then gives a summoner 2 invulnerable ghosts that seek out nearby champions and slows them, and reveals them as well. So a decent item, but usually see that on the support champions. But Teemo may be getting that item to help him split push, and then in case he gets jumped on, to help himself run away.
That's definitely an interesting Teemo build, but it'll be a good time to see how it actually works out. In team fights, I think it's going to be pretty good. He's going to be able to promote a minion and then head to a team fight, and he's going to bring a lot of utility to that.
Yep, and Misfortune's going to go down to the bottom lane, and Ariana is going to go down as well. So Nunu Draven lane turns their mid game up a lot, coming into lane with the Bloodthirster and that BF sword. So that second BF sword really a big favor. As Misfortune went for the Black Cleaver first, so had more health and more straight up armor pen, but does not have that pure damage that Draven had. And if you get caught out by yourself against a Nunu Draven, you're dead.
And we see blue team does take down bottom tower. I expected to move a little earlier, but that's a good push. Red team's really scattered right now.
Yep, as Wukongson is trying to maybe counter push this top lane. As we do see, Season 3 has been a League of Black Cleavers, and we have 3 of them.
Yeah, we see Black Cleavers quite frequently, but at least we're not seeing frequent Black Cleavers on one person.
True. That unique passive now really helpful. Before it was just, the stack armor pen, and no matter how much armor you had on you, you deal 2 damage.
Yeah. And we see the gold lead pushing 4,500 for red side. And again, not a lot of kills. That's still mostly farm. We see top lane up almost 70. Mid lane still up 50 creep kills. Draven really doing well trying to keep up with that MF, but still nonetheless behind 20 creep kills.
Yes, but Draven has picked up the kills for his team, so he will be that strong 80 carry in lane, whereas it's been Wukong and Talon picking up the kills for the purple team. So the 2 kind of bruiser initiators, well, I guess Talon's more of a caster AD champion than a bruiser, but 2 people you have kind of as secondary initiators after that Malphite or Orianna ult, which kind of interesting, because if they don't build a little bit of tank, Wukong has, but Talon is not yet. Talon may fall pretty quickly.
I do kind of like the idea of actually having the kills onto Wukong and Talon, because the way red team is set up, it's to completely counter-initiate. It's to shut down the enemy carries with crowd control, and with the Malphite ult and the Orianna ult, they're going to be able to keep those carries put, while Talon and Wukong are going to be able to just jump right through the front lines onto them.
Yep. But what I'm saying is, in this split push game, you're going to have to send someone to deal with Teemo eventually. Now, who are you going to go deal with Teemo? We're going to go send the 5-0 Wukong, who can deal massive amounts of damage and has the survivability, or are you going to go send the 3-2 Talon, or are you going to go send someone that like Malphite, but you need Malphite for the counter initiation? The question is, who do you send to stop the split push?
That is a good question. However, I don't really see Teemo's split pushing being too dangerous at this point. I think he's far enough behind that the advantage in just fighting a 5v4, it'll end up being a base race that red will win every time.
Probably true. I mean, we do have okay wave clear. It's not like we have excellent wave clear from the blue team. A Lux E with a little bit of a Moo area effect. The Nunu can consume 1 minion, and Draven's can do pretty decent wave clear with his throwing swords. But it's not like, compared to the Orianna ball or the teleport being used by Teemo onto a ward at blue buff. Interesting, try and gank.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to catch somebody out. I don't know if red team was just onto it or if they had just luckily decided to back at that point, but they kind of stayed out of range out of anything the blue team tried to create.
And now we have a 5v4 for the blue team. We've been talking about the blue team doing the split push, but it's the purple team caught in the split push situation at the moment. But Malphite, there's a wombo combo with the Misfortune ult and Talon all on top. Nunu does get his pop, but Lux Laser comes out as well. So Nunu takes down one, Draven takes down another, Misfortune takes down another, and this is not looking good because Draven survived and so did Lux. As there goes Misfortune, and only Nunu died. So all that area effect damage coming out from the purple team was basically negated because they all ran into that Nunu ult.
Yeah, that was absolutely perfectly played by blue team. The huge initiate coming out from red team, they realized we can't fight a team on their terms, and they all just back. They disengaged and then re-engaged when they had the advantage, and that really helped them out.
And they're gonna push into this inhibitor, so I did not expect that being fed. If they would have had Wukong, they probably win that fight. The Wombo combo only hit 3 members in this little side bush here. As I'm trying to remember who it hit here. And as a result, you had Lux off to the side, who was able to snare a couple of people, and Draven was able to do it as well.
Yeah, and Lux's shield actually going down, absorbing a lot of the initial initiation damage, allowing them to just disengage simply. And they came back with a lot more health than red team bargained for, and they were able to just shut down in the 5v4.
Well, there's going to be a double Aegis, even though it is a unique passive or a unique aura, so you can only be affected by one or the other for the blue team. But when Nunu went down, you still had a Mumu with Aegis going on. So actually, Wukong jumping in, and there's that initiate coming out from the purple team, and there, I think Wukong's going to make the difference, because there's an ace with a triple kill coming out on the side of Wukong.
Yeah, Wukong is doing so much damage right now. He's 8-0. He has the highest farm in the game. He is just absolutely massive. And with him in the team fight, there's not really much hope. And that wasn't really a good engage. Blue team sort of just got engaged on. They got caught out. And red team's going to pick up an uncontested Baron off of that.
Yep. And Teemo gets the gold because of his banner command. Siege minion takes down the tower, so he will get the gold bonus for that. Not that it particularly matters, because purple team got Baron.
Yeah, and that was pretty good call to throw that promote out, because it's at least getting some kind of work done. But it looks like red team may head down and pick up a dragon as well.
Yeah, nope. I believe Talon... Nope, my mistake. I thought Talon was double buff. Nope, he just has purple or blue.
Yeah, that was a really good play by red team. They knew that they had just been pushed and lost an inhibitor. They had to make something happen. They were able to catch someone out, get the counter engage, and move on to pick up a Baron. If we look at the gold totals, Wukong just leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. He's up at 13,000 gold right now. 11,000 on both the mid and the bot carries for red team. They are just huge. The 3 carries for red team have more gold than anyone on the blue team. Draven's keeping up about 11.5, but we really see the farm coming into play here, bringing a 7,000 global gold lead.
No, yeah, and you can see that because Wukong, I mean, I know that because of the change in Warmogs, it doesn't stack based upon the number of CS or champion kills you get, like it did in Season 2, but usually you don't see a 33-minute, I'm just going to buy a Warmogs, instead of turning that Giant's Belt into that, frozen mallet, which you normally would expect.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he may try to put that into a Trinity Force or Iceborne Gauntlet. Or, excuse me, he doesn't have Sheen. I guess Iceborne Gauntlet's right out.
Yep, no, is someone going to get caught out? Purple team, blue team did pick up. Malphite has picked up an Oracles. That will only last for 5 minutes. So, if he doesn't, it's worth it if you get like 1 or 2 warriors and it gives your team really good vision. But if it doesn't amount to anything other than maybe killing 1 ward and you don't take any kills or objectives with it in 5 minutes, it's really a waste.
Yeah, I think it wasn't such a bad pick on Malphite, though. He has the advantage of being against a Teemo, so he is going to be able to go around and perhaps clear out some mushrooms, try and give his team a little extra edge in case a fight breaks out in the jungle, because there's nothing worse than thinking you have a nice 5v5, trying to get the advantage, and running into 5 or 6 Teemo mushrooms and just watching your team get shut down.
No, yep, and they have left Orianna, who normally has good wave clear on the base, as Misfortune now comes up to help pick up some CS, to try and push this bottom lane, and that's fine if you have an AP Orianna, but you have a support Orianna who has 85 AP. She can't wave clear very fast with that type of AP going on. So she got pushed to less than half health and all the way back to her inner tower.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think they actually need to get a little more gold into Oriana. She's been doing excellent job of support, but at this point, they're getting red team is really getting counter bought. Blue team is starting to stack armor, realizing, hey, nobody does magic damage on this team. Let's just stack armor, and it's really starting to show in the team fights. You see huge chunks of damage going down on red, and red can't really throw down all the damage they need to on this blue.
No, yep, and there is the inhibitor back up for the purple team, but there are 2 siege minions there dropping down as Misfortune's going to pop her ult, and there's the initiation from the purple team under tower. This annihilates everybody.
Yeah, they pulled off their combos perfectly. We saw the Misfortune ult came out right as soon as Malphite went in. He got the knock-up. Oriana got the pull in with her ultimate, and they locked up 3 of those champions and just dropped them instantly, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the game. We got some pretty big death timers. I think they may just try and push for the win on it.
They're all 30 seconds. Only Talon is even below 50% health at the moment. Malphite has a 262 armor and will just tank it up. The only thing that's going to probably, if anything, save blue team is the fact that they're going to start, they have siege minions coming out, but it's not going to matter. We have 10 seconds left on death timers for blue team, and that is game, ladies and gentlemen.
That was really well played by blue team. Some of those team fights, the disengage was absolutely fantastic, but it just wasn't enough to overcome their lack of farm. Teemo got put too far behind, and Wukong, you can see it just completely changed the game when they had him in team fights. Teemo was too underfarmed, he had died too many times, and he had gone back to base and just got put way too far behind. He didn't bring enough to the team fights.
No, yep, and that's sort of what happens is if you can't do the split push, then you have to group as 5. He did nothing. I mean, he's got a support item, Ninja Tab Eye, Crystalline Flask for laning, and the new mask item, the Landry's Torment, which is a good AP item, especially if you got slows coming out from every single one of your team members. So deals a little that 5% extra on their current health as magic damage over 3 seconds, but it didn't matter because Black Cleaver, Warmogs, Phantom Dancer, couple of Bloodthirsters, a couple of BF swords. I think I see, a Last Whisper. All the damage coming out from the purple team was just massive amounts of AD damage.
Yeah, and it was, again, thanks to just their superior farm. If you take a look at the gold totals for the end of the game, Talon is at 13,000, Misfortune over 13,000, Wukong almost 15,000. That's their 3 main carries, clear up into the 5 digits. And only one person managed to even break the 5-digit gold total on blue team.
Yep, and it is Draven, and he kind of was keeping them, especially in that team fight that they did win in that bot lane. He was the particular reason is he didn't get caught out. It was him and Lux didn't get caught out in the wombo combo between the Malphite and Oriana. And so, because he didn't get caught out and Lux didn't get caught out, they were able to lay down some CC and some hard damage themselves.
Yeah, really well played by both teams. I was really impressed by the map control. In games that aren't professional, I rarely see that kind of great map control. These guys knew when these ganks were coming. They knew what was going on with their lanes. We saw one team just sort of lose their lanes, but ganking really didn't turn this game around in either direction at all.
Nope, we were completely wrong to deal with the junglers. There were some good ultimates. Mumu did pick up first blood. Not using an ultimate, but the one good gank pre-6 from the junglers was, I guess, the only positive thing we can say about how we guessed on them.
Yeah, they were probably listening in, and they're like, "Oh, we'll show them."
No, yeah. If let's see here. If any of the people that played in that game want to join the room, maybe Lily or whoever. We can do an interview or whatever if you have any questions to ask about specific builds. I kind of want to know what Teemo was thinking on the blue team. That was a unique build coming out from him.
Yeah, and I sort of still want to see that build on a Teemo and see if it would work in a lane where he wasn't just put so far behind and they could actually pull off a split push, because I could see that be pretty devastating.
No, yeah, I think what set him back is maybe he maxed his skills maybe in the wrong order. because he pushed Wukong the tower. And when you're level 3 Teemo and your opponents push the tower, and you know Malphite's the jungler, you can't I'm going to go try and steal golems because you're level 3 Teemo. You can't go, I'm going to go take my own team's, wolves because I have an Amumu who's going to need to use that gold and CS because Amumu is going to start handing over buffs soon. So the only gold he could get was from lane, and he just kept backing while Wukong gained experience and gold in lane. So when Wukong was, okay, I'm up on CS, I'm up a level, I'm up a brutalizer, I can dominate.
Yeah, that lane sustain really put him ahead.
Okay, Katarina's tea house. I will jump up there.
Idea.
Fuck
Taking
you.
full credit. Dude, totally my idea.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hi guys.
Okay. The first
bros?
question everyone really wants to know: is Teemo in here?
Nah.
No.
No, this is the good team.
Oh, this is the good team. Okay, good. Okay. Lily,
Some of us only
Orianna support, especially on an AD team with magic damage needed. Why'd you pick Orianna?
I wanted to. But actually, I supported somebody the other day with Orianna, and we did really well. I noticed that with a flask start, Orianna can get some amazing poke in and deny CS early.
And Misfortune, what was it like laning with an Orianna who's, you have no sustain other than yourself and your flask that you picked as well?
Well, I started with like a flask and 30 million potions for that reason, and I don't know. Once Orianna started poking Draven, and I got to hit him with some well placed Qs, he couldn't contest us really. So it turned into kind of a passive farm lane because we couldn't really hard engage on them and kill them. I wanted to try a few times by stacking our ults, but it just wasn't enough damage. So it became a passive farm lane, but we could zone them a bit with our poke.
Alright, and I see Lol in the buff just entered the channel. Is this the Teemo we're looking for?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
That's the team.
These are not the Teemos you're looking for.
Well, let's hear
Yes,
straight from the
Teemo.
source. What were you looking to get out of that build? Was it kind of what we were expecting, just a really hard split push?
Yeah, it's a hard split push, but you also want him back a lot of times. That's why you sort of pushed. That's why I pushed the tower, because it sort of denies Wukong farm early game if the tower is last hitting most of his creeps. And so when you're backing, you have teleport ready to gank bot. The problem was bot was also pushed up a lot of the time, and there weren't wards in the bushes for me to teleport onto to gank the AD carry. There was sort of something at the end near there just to defend the tower, but that was at the point where Wukong was getting fed.
So the build was essentially banking off of being able to get a lot of gold, pulling off these teleport gang spot team while you're pushing split lane.
So you promote your minion top, port back often to heal, fill your flask, and also to teleport to bot lane to make ganks.
Well,
Do you
it
think
didn't
that-
seem to work out, but I look forward to seeing it in a different game. I want to see this build work. I think it could be a really brutal split push lane.
Do you think it may be set up not as well as because Wukong did a pretty decent job of hitting CS, and after he hit a point where he was a level up on you and he picked up the brutalizer, that's when he started killing you in lane.
No, it wasn't the brutalizer, it was the hex drinker. You watched hex drinker.
No, yes, the Hex Drinker because he prevented that magic damage.
Because with hex drinker shuts down Teemo completely because you can't get poison kills, and plus I don't have ignite, right, because I took teleport. That means you can't get the small marginal kills you need.
We were also really careful about teleport ganks because Wukong threatened to leave, as the game was loading if we ever died to Teemo teleport gank.
Yeah, I told him if you guys thought
He
he'd
was
teleport
AFK.
team, I'm leaving. So
For the purple team, we see Black Cleavers galore, but no one built two of them. We see a couple of Last Whispers, Phantom Dancers, and Bloodthirsters. Once you all had your Black Cleaver, which would seem to be the main damage item rushed by the three of you, was it a mix then of what items to get next, or was it just an individual build?
We didn't really discuss it, to be
yeah.
honest. It was just kind of, we built our own stuff, and Black Cleaver's pretty OP, so we all built it.
It's super
I
strong.
I rushed a Black Cleaver on Misfortune because if you ult with Misfortune, as soon as the very first tidbit of the ult does damage, they get hit with all 4 stacks of the Black Cleaver instantly. I don't know if that's a bug or intentional, but that's the way it's working right now. So I've seen a lot of
not just
Korean
hitting them with
teams.
4 bullets or something?
It's just the very front end of the thing does 4 stacks instantly, and I saw CJ Entis do it a lot, and they actually got Misfortune banned against them in OGN over and over again because of it. So I really wanted to do it.
Okay, and the one team fight the purple team did lose was at that bot lane or just past that second tower, where Oriana and Malphite did get the wombo combo off, but didn't hit Draven or Lux. Did you guys really want to initiate without Wukong there?
It was the call, but then we kind of decided it was a bad call afterwards.
Yeah, it was my bad. I should have waited for them to go a little bit too deep under the tower so I could catch all of them instead of just what I did catch. And then we didn't have very good vision because I stepped out of the bush by accident right after that, so we couldn't really get vision for auto attacks on any of the squishies at all, and I basically threw that team fight by complete.
Nope, yep, and Talon and Malphite actually were caught in the new ult as well, so you were slowed and couldn't deal the damage output. Any particular lanes? I noticed that Talon, once you started to get a little bit of a lead on Lux, her range didn't really matter to you.
How do you mean?
She, because her E and her Q, and her shields, she can outrange you at the beginning, but once you got that...
but she has to, I mean, to some degree, yes, but, I mean, Talon's W is really, really good at clearing waves, and if you just stand in the creep wave, just lateral movement fools a lot of Lux mids. Or I don't know if it's a lot of Lux mids or not, but her skill shots are really linear, so they're not so hard to dodge after a while. And Talon has a teleport silence, so even if you get caught by it, if she's in range, it doesn't even matter. So it's kind of a hard matchup.
Okay, and I have one question for Wukong. When you decided to go for the Giants, you had the Giants belt. Why did you go Warmugs over the Frozen Mallet?
Because basically our thought process at that point, since we had so much damage, was just we're gonna tower dive them. So I just wanted as much tankiness as I could.
Okay, and Lily, you did talk about the Oriana support, but you didn't get all of your items other than wards. None of them built into, aura items that you normally see on support players. Was that specific, or did you just figure my teammates are strong enough they can fend for themselves?
My intent was to rely on the poke enough to get my carry fed, and then I could take CS and build AP.
Okay, we did see you start to clear that bottom wave earlier, and it nearly took you down to half.
I wasn't really that worried. I was close enough to it. The thing was I tried to take CS, but my carry was way too good at getting it before I could.
Well, yeah, Misfortune was quite fed. As you all won your CS battles in lane, and even the jungler won the CS battle. And do you think that really individualized being able to do so well in the team fights? Or do you think it was more of the ability to communicate with each other and work well as a group?
I mean, our plan from the very get-go was just we were going to build an AoE composition that really just focuses on our abilities. So if it's less about individual skill and more about just piling on abilities in team fights. So winning our individual lanes definitely helped that because you can do that when you're stronger. And like Duck said, towards the end of the game, we just didn't care where they were. They could be under a tower; it didn't really matter.
Go ahead.
We managed to get, I think, all the dragons that game. I don't think we missed a single one.
They snuck one at the end.
They might have snuck one, while we were doing something, but we got a lot of control over the major buffs, and that just we had so much CS.
is if Lowell is still here, for the blue team, did you guys start to panic after realizing that you were starting to lose CS in every lane? You started to give up a couple of kills here and there. You had a nice team fight where you evened it up. What was the thought process on the losing side?
So this is Draven Koog here. We had Timo saying, "Hey, let's get on top of Wukong before he gets too fed. Hey, help me out on top before Wukong gets too fed." We actually were pretty quiet because our Nunu didn't have push to talk enabled, and so there was a lot of static and background noise going on constantly. So on the upside, we didn't have a lot of panic, but on the downside, it was Mia's and go now, don't go now. We didn't have a lot of grand talking going on.
Well, what we tried to do is we tried to just stall it out until we could farm out and actually win fights because the Wukong was too fed. After the fight that we won, that we didn't get caught out, we were supposed to not get caught out because we knew that if the shield went on Malphite that they were going to initiate again. And then we did that. We were about to flash away from the Malphite, but then Oriana got us game over.
Yes, it was. Any other questions from maybe any of the players or anyone in the room that wants to throw out a question?
Say that again?
No, I was just saying, if anyone had a question, like if someone on the purple team had a question for the blue team or vice versa, or if, one of the controllers of the stream or anyone had a question.
Anybody, any plugs, any channels anybody wants to plug?
Why didn't you ban Amumu and Malphites? They went for, I guess they were going to ban us out. And
Dude, they banned my Jarvan, dude. The hell?
They banned my Katarina.
Who bans Cho'Gath? What?
Hey, we watched Dash 12 last week,
Dash
man.
12. Because he banned my Katarina, so I had to ban his most
Plug
big champion.
r/League of Legends.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good plug. Anybody else want to plug personal streams? Anybody gonna any appearances nearby? I myself will continue to be at my house for the foreseeable future. You can find me there.
Same here, man.
I want this Timo to
and
start
also
streaming.
in the chat room.
I want this Timo to start streaming because I want to see that build work.
Yeah, I'm interested
good
to see
luck.
that build work too. If you manage it, see, I think the problem with the build though is that you're relying on these items that aren't going to give you enough potential in your own lane to actually win your own lane, and that's
Once
might be an
Timo lost
issue.
the first fight, it was gonna snowball out of control, and then we didn't get ganks up there because Ball was ganking like shit too. So
Rude.
I went in once to try. I was about to steal Mumu's wolves, but then Lux went Mia, and I didn't know where anything was because we had no wards yet, so I had to back out of the jungle real quick.
well, we saw you because I saw you go in, and I was like, okay, let's go in. Like I pinged, but then we saw you go out again, so we're like, okay, this is not doing anything for him.
The ward coverage from both teams, I'm going to say, was pretty remarkable in retrospect compared to basically anything pre-season 3, because at one point you couldn't see fog of war in the river because there was wards everywhere. So, I mean, that just throws about how safe the junglers now more or less have to be in their own jungle, because if you do an invade, you're going to be seen.
Yeah, Blue
And
Team
we
lost
were-
ward coverage near the end. Like,
It was
after
also
we won the fight in bottom, we just didn't have any vision at that point.
There were also only 3 kills for the first, forever minutes because of the nobody could kill each other. Because
Yeah,
anytime
I got-
anyone would show up to a lane, everyone would see him.
I got caught mid for first
No,
blood, which
I
was
thought I was
not
gonna
good.
die I thought I was gonna get first blood because I was like dead already, and then I just ulted for the fun of it, and then Amumu
And then
got him.
Amumu
So
comes in. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I say we actually had a question from Croc in the IRCs, and,
Oh,
and
God.
also popping up a question on my screen. He was asking DT Wayne specifically why he picked Lux against the Talon.
well, see, I made AD carry, and then he already banned Katarina because I'm pretty sure he looked at Alola King. And I asked my team, should I play somebody else, and they just said play your best because I'm not gonna play a new champion and things. Because in solo queue, if you main one person, then that means like you can win basically most games, unless you're facing somebody better.
All right, fair enough. From a conservative estimate, I would say that if you play a champion and are good, you will probably win most of your games, or at least more than you lose. That does sound like a sound bit of strategy there.
It works. It works.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I know there's the science behind it. People have actually done studies on how many champions should you try to main, 1, 2, 3, that sort of thing.
I think the point is the fact that in solo queue and duo queue, or even when you do ranked fives with your friends or something, you don't know who you're going up against until the game starts. So at that point, you can be like, okay, who do they play? What type of style do they like to run? And these type of weekly games, everyone gets a chance to look at the log king. Everyone gets a chance to search out their summoner, and you can watch them, for their past weeks, like history, what games they've played, what champions did they run, who is their favorite champion in top lane in season 2. Is that champion viable now? And so you can really strategize, especially in your lane, on how you want to play it.
I actually bought Misfortune about 3 hours before that match started and played together.
Pretty pro.
I told my team specifically don't ban Teemo because I want to play the Teemo.
He's not lying. We literally played 2 matches of ranked with his Misfortune just before the game. I was supporting him as Leona. It was pretty fun.
And I fell in love with Misfortune and decided to go with it.
Until they nerf the Black Cleaver bug.
I mean, I don't think that the bugs, whether it takes 0 seconds or a couple hundredths of a second to apply the 4 stacks,
I don't think people will build Black Cleaver after they fix the bug, to be honest.
Well, I think the point is the fact that you had 3 champions who all had Black Cleaver and who all was doing area effect damage that applied the Black Cleaver. So whether you were the first person or the last person to pop your area of effect, the last person was always doing true damage.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was pretty much wombo combo ponage.
And I just kind of pushed R and...
Yeah, I think the last fight I just kind of watched for a while and then I silenced Nunu and felt useful. I didn't really do much. I didn't really do anything. I was like, oh, alright, that's cool. And then I took a lot of tower aggro, I guess. So yeah.
I don't know, that silence was pretty cool.
Looking at the endgame screen, you guys on the other team, I don't know if you didn't have the chance to, but there wasn't a whole lot of armor going around in the first place. There was a Bulwark and an Aegis. And
Lux had a chain vest, I think.
And there were a couple of chain vests, and that was it.
Yeah, I have a question.
There was no farm to build, you know what I mean? Like, they had to make a choice of one or the other. They didn't have enough money to build both, so...
Yeah, did you... I'm pretty sure they fixed the Bulwark Aegis stacking, so why one of each? I mean, it stacks the same way that Woda stacks, where the person using it gets the aura that's slightly different, so they get the other aura as well as their own, but as for the other people on the team, they only get one of them because they have the same name.
Yeah, no, we thought that as well in Jangly and me. We were talking about that in the stream. We were wondering the same thing. Does it double stack?
Oh, there was a bug where it did, and I believe they fixed that in one of the most recent patches.
It stacks on the person. Like, if a tanky person builds it, it still stacks on him.
Yeah, like, you know how Woda double stacks on, say you have a mid and the top laner that are both AP, they both get Woda? Well, both of them get double stack on Woda, but the rest of the team only gets 1 stack, because there's a separate aura for your own stats from the aura and for your teammates' stats from it.
So that's probably what the blue team was thinking. Did we have any... Teemo, you bought the 25-second cooldown upgrade on your boots for your flash teleport. I mean, that's probably, really important to your build. But other than, like, a flash teleport person, do you think that upgrade is worth it? And when do you think you should start buying upgrades? Anyone can answer.
I think the upgrade was I think the upgrade
Yeah,
is
home
really,
guard,
really
just
important to Teemo's build, and I think home guard, getting a home guard when your team is on the defensive is great. I had Fuhrer on Misfortune, but I actually think I got it way too early, and I could have put that gold towards extra AD. I don't think the move speed was helping me in fights. I just got it because I got to go fast, but it didn't make a difference. I could have saved that for later.
I don't know, you had a pretty good speed advantage over me there at the beginning. I was still on Boots 1 and you came back with Fury, which certainly made me go, I need to get some speed.
You can strut through combat though, right? When you're chasing, if you don't get attacked, or is that not true?
Yeah, if you don't get attacked, if you don't take damage.
I mean, at that point, you're strutting anyway.
Getting attacked by minions or really anything does count, though, so it's kind of hard to keep that bonus for extended periods of time unless you're, it's the same kind of rules as Boots 5.
Another thing, when you're thinking about using the third tier boot upgrade is, well, what's your champion speed relative to the rest of the champions on the map? Like, I'm going to be slower than Misfortune even as Malphite unless I hit my Q off, and we need to initiate, and I need to be with the team and be able to get from lane to lane. Führer's not going to be good on a champion like Malphite. I decided to get the alacrity quicker because I had to move all around the map. I'm jungling, so I was debating on getting mobility boots, but I decided against it.
No, and like I said, I mean, it's all situational, I guess, per every game and per every champion on how you want to set it up. But then you have people, I guess, I mean, Nunu is probably a bad example because he does have that movement speed buff no matter who he gives it to. Only his level 1 boots, whereas if you look down the line, we have multiple people with level 2, or level 2 and level, or I guess, I'm going to call it level 3.
Well, if we were ahead, Nunu would have been. He should have upgraded his boots to the captain boots. That way, we would catch them faster. Plus his blood boil on our AD carry. Then that means we catch them faster if we were ahead. That's the only reason you should get.
Captain boots on Teemo. It's the only one that makes sense.
I guess one of the last things to talk about before we end here is the bottom lane combination of heal and barrier. Were you just
those trolls?
Fucking barrier.
Was that just a hey? I need to protect myself real quick early in an instant, or I mean, no exhaust coming out from the purple team.
I went barrier both because the cooldown on it's not short, and I think it was the best defensive spell for me. I wanted to go a defensive spell over Ignite. Because I didn't really feel comfortable trying to all in against a Draven and a Lux at any point of that game, and that's kind of what I feel like Ignite's for. So I wanted a defensive summoner, and out of the defensive summoners, there's heal, there's cleanse, there's barrier. There wasn't really anything to cleanse, and barrier is awesome. So I went barrier.
So you're not going to cleanse, Ignite, Mumu, Bandage Toss, or Lux Bind?
Well, with Oriana's shield and my barrier, it gave me an extra 700 HP.
So he could get caught because he's a bad player.
We pretty much took the defensive summoners because we were biding our time so the poke would work.
I mean, our team fight was based around essentially us not caring, just ulting in. Everyone hits R behind Malphite, so it didn't. Defensive stuff wasn't so important. I don't know.
This is pretty much team fuck it, we're doing it live.
I mean, if everybody mashes their foreheads on their keyboards at the same exact time.
Sorry.
Then, good things happen.
Barrier is such a dick summoner spell, I love it.
Barrier's great, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people used to take heal on Tristana because when you... This is unrelated to this game in particular, but AD carries like Tristana jump into the middle of a fight. Well, how are they going to stay alive? Even if they're doing damage, they're going to get focused. So Barrier's got a shorter cooldown than heal. It gives you more durability than heal in that instant. So it's actually really great.
And one thing about Barrier that a lot of people I feel underestimate, and I was talking to Dragon about this before the game, is that, and not just Barrier, but shielding mechanics in general, like with Lux and Oriana, and even Locket of the Iron Solari, all that damage that you're getting absorbed is after mitigation. It's after, it goes through your armor and MR. So even though the number looks low, 200 shield doesn't look like a lot. It kind of is.
Okay, I'm basically out of questions. If anyone else wants to throw one out there.
Hemo's back.
Nothing? Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Even though this was NA, not EU, EUW, come again next week. Join the IRC, chat it up with all of these players. Talk to, it's just a fun community to be around and talk League of Legends like we did here at the end of this game. We got the privilege because it is the last game of the night. So I'm going to sign off now. Thanks for streaming, thanks for watching, and hopefully you will catch all of you next week, either watching or playing.
Thanks, IRC5s.
Off.
Alright, everyone go home. I want my computer back.
I'll play. I'm gonna play
How
another
did it
game.
feel when I saved you with Flash All?
You dragged the interview for so long, dude.
Cry tears.
You dragged it out for
Does
so
anybody
long.
want to play another game? Like
Like,
pick up
I'd
just
love
fives right now?
I'd love to, but I have to mention this. I don't know if you guys caught it on the stream, but I fat fingered Flash during the game.
Yeah,
I fat fingered it so hard.
Wow.
I tried to.
Somebody send out invites for a game.
Yeah,
Let's
I went
play.
to ping and I just flashed. Too strong.
He didn't even realize he flashed. He was like, "Whoa, where am I?"
Yeah, I was looking at the other part of the screen where I was about to ping. I think I was pinging on a Mumu or something, and I accidentally hit F instead of G because I think I just typed before that or something. I don't
Who's
know.
gonna set up the game?
So bad.
I think a T3 should set it up.
Do what now? Guys, I'm going to get
Set up
some
a
dinner. I haven't done shit in
stop.
hours.
Stop.
It's true. He deserves dinner.
Lilybet set it up.
No, I set up
No,
all the
she's
games
done.
today.
Oh my god, you
Well, I didn't set 'em all
complain
up,
so
but-
much.
Are we gonna,
I want to do a pick up fives. What's up, Justin?
are we doing 5v5?
I want to, yeah.
I can set it up.
Nice.
Oh, I was setting it up. But
I'm gonna go be.
You're bad though.
I trust Monarch more than I trust you, Croc.
Wow.
Let's have 2 team captains and pick some teams and go nuts.
Just to make everybody feel bad by getting picked last.